What up, all my Mingas? Welcome to the Minga Sports Podcast. I'm Nacho.
I'm Garuta. I just love how Nacho always puts a 9 in the chat whenever we start as the timestamp because it's somehow always 9.
It's so I remember, but then I don't even look at the chat because I do it without.
Alright then. Let's get into
What a
week
week 1.
Honestly, this is a pretty exciting week 1.
No, not really, because our
Maybe not
Houston
really.
prediction got fucked.
Oh,
Not excited for that. Otherwise,
I guess we'll start with that one right away then, because
our prediction for the 0-17 Texans,
immediately failed.
they beat Jacksonville with more than one score.
Jacksonville just looked bad. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a worse week 1 performance. Well, never mind, because there's another team that's coming up soon that played pretty bad. But Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence threw 3 interceptions. Did you watch those interceptions?
Yeah.
There was no receiver within 5 yards on at least 2 of them.
And Urban Meyer said, it's like playing Alabama every week. It's hard. And it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, that's what happens when you know, don't have the best recruiting talent ever. You know, Urban Meyer has always played, like, what? His big 3 was, what is it? He played somewhere out west. Or he coached somewhere out west. I think it was like Utah when they were good. Then he played coached Ohio State and Florida and won 2 national championships. And he's like, yeah, get this recruiting money. I get to sign almost all of my good players on scholarship. And you can't really do that in the NFL because of this thing called a salary cap.
Yeah.
So you can't sign the best players, and you're on a shit team already. And Jacksonville gets dominated by Houston.
Tyrod Taylor finally comfortable without a rookie breathing down his neck.
There is a rookie on that team, though.
Who?
Davis Mills.
Oh,
Out
yeah.
of, that's not the A&M guy. I think Stanford Davis Mills, a 3rd-round draft pick. But he does not pose a threat to Tyrod
Stanford.
Taylor unless
Yeah,
Tyrod goes down.
that was my thought. Is Tyrod has a pretty secure spot. He's there's no way he finally has a chance to show what he has, and he played good. He played good.
He did play pretty well.
It was against Jacksonville. So
yeah, Houston's offense in general did play very well. Like they put up 37. And I know Jacksonville does not have a good defense, but still putting up 37 against any team is pretty good. I'd call that an accomplishment.
Hard to do, yeah.
So congrats to them. Moving along.
We could go to the actual first game.
Yeah, the actual first game that I had on the list before you jumped it.
Yep.
Brady makes his return to Tampa against Dak Prescott. We watched this game together.
We did.
How much of it do you remember?
Most of it.
Oh, that's good, because I remember, some things happened during that game and after that game. You remember that one?
What?
You remember that?
No. What are you on about?
You were doing the taking sips of beverages.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, just making sure you still remembered, because you seemed a little out of it during this one.
Oh. Anyways, the Cowboys, the Cowboys, who everybody thought were going to get curb stomped by Tampa because the Cowboys are not supposed to be good, put up 29 against Tampa, Brady. Making Brady only had a minute and a half. He had the Brady angry look.
Yeah, he is Tom Brady, so I mean, you can't really escape that.
You gave him plenty of time. He's won games with less.
Do you see this more of? Do you see this as a positive or a negative for Dallas going forward?
It shows
How
that
they performed.
it shows positive because who runs the offense, the quarterback. Dak Prescott showed that he's better. He's healthy. He can play, and receivers are in the league and they can, for the most part, catch the ball. And I feel like that'll be good to at least move down the field. And then I don't know, I don't remember how their red zone offense was, but
It was good.
they with a very good quarterback, they can perform, but I don't think they're going to have an amazing season just because they need better pieces like on defense, and they need all around tweaks and improvements. Oh, and their O lineman who didn't play.
Yeah. So Zach Martin didn't play because of COVID, and during the game, he should be back this week. Against who are they playing? The Chargers. But Lyle Collins, their right tackle, I think, he is out with a 5-game suspension for substance abuse. So there's another former Pro Bowl offensive lineman gone for the next 5 games. So that's fun. But in the overall game, Dallas played good.
Yeah.
I didn't think they played great. They didn't, live up to the hype of everyone's like Super Bowl. They're going to the Super Bowl.
They are not. They are not.
They can make it to playoffs. Maybe win a game. I do not see them winning the NFC Championship, going to the Super Bowl. I don't see them making it to that game.
They're not.
But I think they could be a playoff team.
I could see it.
I saw a ton of mistakes from Tampa.
That's also why they put 29 up on Tampa, because Tampa's defense just curb stomped the Chiefs.
So you got Murphy
in the Super Bowl.
You got Murphy Bunting goes out in the first half. So you're already putting a third string cornerback in against the Dallas receivers, which a lot of people would say are good.
Yeah.
And then you get multiple penalties on that defense.
It was a week of penalties, to be fair.
It was. Plus, you have the running backs, both running backs, Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, both caused a turnover each. So that gives the ball. If those 2 turnovers don't happen, this is a completely different game. Because Tampa could drive, and even if they field goal, it's they put up 37. But Dallas got the ball almost in the red zone both times and scored 10 points off of that. So if Tampa field goals off of those 2 turnovers and nothing happens with Dallas, this game becomes 37-19.
Which is what was the expected score.
Which completely changes what everyone says.
Oh God,
and
yeah.
That's really what I like. Those 2 turnovers kept Dallas in the game. That's really what I saw. But Tampa ultimately won it after Greg Zuerlein missed 2 field goals and an extra point. So get him some more reps, and Dallas could have won, but I wouldn't have seen it as a win. Tampa played sloppy all game long, except for Brady and Gronk, and that's it. Like Mike Evans didn't even play that well. Mike Evans put up under 6 in fantasy. Godwin put up some good numbers just because he got touchdown, and Brady and Gronk are Brady and Gronk.
Oh, in the
100th touchdown as a duo.
The blown coverage. They could not touch AB that night. Antonio Brown had the freest field I've ever seen. People were making jokes that he's back to Steelers Antonio Brown because I don't think he is. but every catch, like, because he got some deep balls, and they were just like the corner was 5, 7, 8 yards off of him. Like, it's free balls. It's like college almost.
So who's gonna be the next Vontez Perfect and end this?
So hopefully he keeps that up. I know you don't like Antonio Brown.
I don't like him. I respect him as a player to, put up great numbers. Like, he's obviously a great receiver, and then he gets injured and he can still put up with that. But I still judge people off of what happens off the field, and I fucking hate him for that.
This is true.
He was an asshole with the Raiders. He wants to, go to New England because that's the only place he could have gone where he had a chance at winning. And then he follows Brady back to Tampa, and I don't know. I don't like Antonio Brown as a person, but I respect the hell out of him as a player. You can't not. It's like you can dislike Brady, but you can't not respect him.
This is true.
All right. Next up, another probably the most shocking game, in my opinion, from this week.
Yeah.
The Saints crushed the Packers. Like, this was not even a contest.
Yeah.
38-3.
Jameis Winston really was just out there playing backyard football.
Yeah. Like, the stat lines, Jameis throws 5 touchdowns and Rodgers throws 2 interceptions. So many people expected that to be backwards.
Yeah. And I Aaron Rodgers, obviously, I don't know what he's doing in this game, but Jameis Winston, I like that he's succeeding.
He got LASIK, and suddenly he is gonna be MVP.
Yep.
Does he have a case for comeback player of the year so far?
I'd say absolutely. I mean, yeah. Pretty simple.
I saw a stat that Rodgers only threw for 133 passing yards. I saw that was the lowest quarterback passing yards in week 1 ever.
And is this just like a strange week, a fluke, or is this Aaron Rodgers regressing?
I mean, Green Bay usually throws their week 1 game. They treat it like a preseason game. And I mean, you're in New Orleans, or not in New Orleans.
You're in Jacksonville.
You're in Jacksonville playing New Orleans, who is a formidable team. A lot of people see him as a fringe playoff, contender.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I understand. They did sit some of their starters in, like, the second half. Like, they knew they were losing, so they sat some of their starters, but Rodgers continued to play, and they just did not play well. Jordan
Love got a series. He did bad. He did notably bad.
Yeah. I want Green Bay to do well this year. I want Rodgers to get at least another ring in Green Bay. But it doesn't look like he's going to be staying there too long after this season's over. Maybe even before the season ends.
This is true.
Maybe he gets dished out to somewhere else before the trade deadline. But hell of a game by Jameis. Do you think the Packers are going to bounce back this year?
It's the Packers. They're going to play well, especially with Aaron Rodgers. They'll be like, all right, don't want to ruin my stats too much.
All right, next game. The upset in Buffalo.
I watched this game and was not pleased.
No, why not?
I'm supposed to be a Buffalo fan this year because I want
I forgot you're
Josh Allen to go to Super Bowl. Because I was like, oh, easy. Just gonna shit on Steelers for a second and then, go on our way. But then the Steelers were like, no, we can still play football.
Yeah, I didn't watch too much of this game. How was Big Ben throwing the ball?
It was light. He wasn't throwing lasers. Like Brady still got an arm. He had I saw a lot of big men's throws where like he just lofted it up there.
Okay, because I know towards the end of last season, like he could not throw the ball more than 10 yards. Like at the end, they went 11-0, and then
They ran the ball a lot.
they finished 0-6. They ran it with Najee Harris.
Yes.
Is that their running back? Yeah.
That's the one they drafted, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. Who didn't he couldn't get more than like 3 yards. He just could not figure it out.
Yeah. I saw he didn't have a lot of points on fantasy because there's someone who offered me him in a trade. I'm like, maybe.
No.
But
he needs a little bit more time to figure out how to do it in the NFL.
I thought that was a horrible pick by the Steelers when we were watching the draft.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they should have just picked up an O lineman. You know, your O line's already a little shaky. The 5 quarterbacks that are good are already off the board. You're losing Villanueva. Like, just pick up an O lineman. Protect your quarterback. If it's gonna be his last season, you don't want him going out on an injury. But they picked Najee Harris and traded off James Conner for God knows what reason.
Yeah,
But
he's on the Cards now, who we'll get to later.
We'll get to that one later. But I saw the blocked punt, and that was all I really saw from this game.
Because that was the game. Like that doesn't happen. The Buffalo probably wins.
Yeah. All I know is I have Josh Allen in fantasy, and he only gave me like 17-6, I think.
He played all right. It was just a bad game. Just kind of a bad game.
Just like quality of play was down.
Yeah, it just. I was like, you could see the decisions that Josh Allen made, and you're like, okay, I see why you did that. But it's just in general wasn't a great game to watch.
Yeah, I think Buffalo is gonna bounce back from this pretty hard.
No, they are.
So hopefully they'll get their spirits raised. The next game, I watched the end of this one. The nail biter in Cincinnati. Minnesota goes in, ties it up with a last-second field goal, and then they lose. Cincinnati takes home the dub. A big storyline going into this was Ja'Marr Chase, how he would perform in the NFL. What'd you see from him?
I didn't watch the entirety of this game, but he made a routine catch from I don't remember if it was over the shoulder. It was a bigger catch. I think it was over his left shoulder.
Yeah,
made the catch, got the touchdown. It was like I know you told me because I didn't bother reading that his thoughts on the football being different in the NFL were not like they were taken out of context.
Oh yeah.
He saw the football fine. He caught it like he knew what he was doing, and he just ran in like he always does with Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
he's gonna be fine. Ja'Marr Chase, he's just like one of those guys that needs a second. He's gonna be fine in the NFL. He just give him a minute. He'll figure it out. He's gonna be a good receiver.
I think he'll be a Pro Bowl receiver in a few years.
Yeah.
I don't know about like this year or next, but in his career, he will have a Pro Bowl.
He has very good talent, and just once he figures out the difference between NFL and college, it'll click, and he'll just start going off.
Yeah, I mean, Urban Meyer's having trouble with the whole NFL, college to NFL thing. So players can obviously have that too. But I thought Joe Burrow bounced back pretty well.
Yeah.
He had a really good game.
Joe Burrow, it was like he did not like his progress didn't stagnate at all. He looked even improved. He looked decently comfortable to me. And
yeah,
like and he knows what he's doing. He's seen it before, and even though he didn't have a full season, looks like he's gonna be a good quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he only got 3 preseason snaps, and he comes out looking
which were
like
not
that.
great.
Oh yeah, those 3 snaps are horrible. He threw one for 2 yards. Threw one to Jamar, incompletion, and then handed it off. And then that was all he played in the preseason. But he came out looking like he's a vet. He is going to be an elite quarterback in this league. Give it a year or two, and he will be like all pro probably in his lifetime.
You think he's just gonna stick with the Bengals since they're his home team?
I think he'll feel more inclined to stick with the Bengals.
I don't remember if he said that was his favorite team growing up, but he's an Ohio kid. Yeah, they are.
He was a Bengals kid.
Personally,
why would you ever want to be a Browns kid, especially growing up?
Yeah, I think it just kind of happens though. But I mean, he could just want to play in Cincy, or he could get like a Matthew Stafford. Like you see him perform, and then Matthew Stafford trade with Joe Burrow. He gets traded to a good team.
I think Cincy's rebuild is gonna go good. I have a really good feeling about Cincy's rebuild.
They're looking a lot better. They're looking like they're they're not ready, but they're coming on good.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, got the whole team. You got rid of Andy Dalton. You got rid of AJ Green. Sign a few veterans like Von Bell. You have Joe Mixon, who's a good running back.
Mm-hmm.
You get your franchise quarterback in the draft. You get a good receiver in the draft. Start building the offensive line, which is always the last part in a rebuild. I know that as a Giants fan. We're apparently always on the last step of a rebuild with our O-line. And then build a defensive front. That's how a rebuild should go. And Baltimore's following some steps. And they're going to be very well off soon.
Baltimore?
Did I say Baltimore?
Yeah.
Fuck. Cincinnati. Let's talk about Minnesota. Minnesota did not play well.
They're supposed to be better. They're supposed to be good. Hypothetically.
Their starters are good. Everyone else, dog shit. Their offensive line kind of crumbled. And if you have a mobile quarterback, it could be good. But you have Kirk Cousins. So,
And your receivers are great.
Your receivers are fantastic. If you have Irv Smith in the game at tight end, they're even better. But he's out for until December, I think. So you don't get him until playoffs, and that's if you even make it to playoffs. But the Minnesota's such a weird team. I always think of Kirk Cousins as league average, and I always think of Minnesota sort of as fringe playoff team to average.
Mm-hmm.
And they really showed that. Their secondary is okay. You signed Harrison Smith to a new deal. You have the aging Pat Peterson, and then you got meh players. Your defensive front, they still have Daniil Hunter. They have a couple. Let me take a little peek real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got Daniil Hunter, Dalvin Tomlinson, Michael Pierce, and then Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr at linebacker. It's not bad. A couple of these players are definitely past their prime, but they're still not bad players. Their offensive line is just not good, though. They drafted Christian Darrisaw first round, and he's questionable. But he's not really going to see too much play time. They're just going to develop him right now. But the Vikings are a very meh team. and I think that they're gonna have a very meh record.
Yeah, they need a lot of work before they're going deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're one of those weird teams where you're like, they're not rebuilding, but they're also not winning. One of those, like Chicago, I would say, is another one of those teams.
Yeah.
This next topic's gonna be very near and dear to me.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants suck. They were not good.
I did not get to watch this game.
Oh, that's good. You don't have to watch anything from it. Our secondary was not good. They just weren't. I was so underwhelmed by how our defense played. I was, hype. We got James Bradbury, Logan Ryan, Adoree Jackson in our secondary. That's awesome. Blake Martinez at linebacker, and then you got Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams at the defensive front. That's going to be awesome. And then we gave up 27 to Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos. Like, that's not awesome. Our defense spent so much time on the field, too.
So you're saying this is a Giants' fault, not a Broncos being good? Or are you saying the Broncos are also good?
I'm a little biased because I thought the Broncos did play very well. Like, Teddy Bridgewater knew what he was doing with that offense. He knew where to put the ball. Didn't make too many mistakes. But watching the Giants play, they definitely could have prevented a lot more yards than they actually did. Missed tackles, blown coverage, stuff like that. I was very underwhelmed by that. And then our offense just did not perform either. Saquon's still coming back from injury, so he didn't get as many carries as he should have. I didn't even see any tight end play. I'm trying to think of a time where I saw a tight end make a play for us, and I couldn't. I couldn't think of any. I don't think Engram's name was mentioned, and I think Kyle Rudolph dropped his one or two targets. Shepard played well, which is good because I didn't expect him to play well. Slayton played okay, and Danny Dimes picked up his 40th career turnover in 28 games. Second fastest to do that. So I guess we got an award this week from that, I guess.
There was a YouTube video NFL posted about saying why his name is Danny Dimes, because he threw a alright pass.
He was ranked number 1 by PFF in deep balls last season. Throughout all of last season, he had a 48% completion rating on deep balls. It's just, he can't hold on to it when our offensive line inevitably crumbles. Which it also did a lot yesterday because, Von Miller has also returned. But the Broncos defense also didn't look as good as I thought it was originally going to be. I know we didn't do a lot, but from what I saw, their defense was getting flagged a little bit. And they didn't have Bradley Chubb. He's out. He was just out this week. He should be back for next week's game.
Mm-hmm.
But they still didn't get to Daniel Jones as much as they probably should have. Their secondary gave up a lot of yards, a lot of passes, but overall, Broncos played pretty good. The Giants did not play well at all. Joe Judge also threw a challenge flag on a scoring play. So that was fun. That was a lost timeout. Fucking dumbass.
All right, moving on, because you sound kind of depressed talking about...
I am depressed talking about this game.
Matthew Stafford, in his Rams debut, balls the fuck out.
Yeah, you could tell.
He was
awful.
having fun out there. He was smiling all game.
The first quarter, you could tell this is going to be a great fit for Matthew Stafford, and the Rams are going to do very well this year.
321 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Oh, dude, those numbers are so good. So I was watching this game in my bed, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going... Like, it was such a weird game for Chicago. Because Chicago, first, they take the opening kickoff to midfield. So I'm already like, all right, you know, they're already in, like, a scoring position.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Dalton makes some nice throws. Montgomery has some nice runs. I'm like, all right. And then they're at the 15-yard line. I'm like, all right, guaranteed points for Chicago. That'll be good for them. And then Justin Fields comes into the game. And everyone, even like Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, are like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I'm like, this could be interesting. So he throws a pass, gets like 8 yards. So it's going to be like 2nd and 2 from the like 7. And then they just pull him immediately. One play, one completion, 8 yards, and they pull him. Andy Dalton goes back in. So I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Because you're killing momentum. You're screwing up a rhythm. And of course, next play, Andy Dalton throws a pick in the end zone. This is why I don't like dual quarterback systems. Then the Rams drive. Like, that was Chicago's first drive.
The Rams' first drive. Mwah. Mwah.
All right, you know, a little pass, you know, 10-yard pass, whatever, a run for a couple yards, and then Matthew Stafford throws a 60-yard bomb.
67-yard touchdown.
Like, watching that play too, he was like, he caught it fine, and then he tripped, and then there were 2 Chicago defenders right there, and they just didn't touch him, so he just got up and walked into the end zone. That was a really funny play to watch, because it's just like, they just could have touched him, and he could have been down at like the 10-5. But no, they just let him get back up and walk in. And that was it for Chicago. I'm surprised I didn't see on Instagram the Justin Fields rushing touchdown more. I only saw it like twice. Like, wow, they're really restraining themselves.
Bears fans are getting extra, especially when you're teasing them like this. Bears fans are getting very antsy that Andy Dalton is not performing great, because if Andy Dalton doesn't do great, get Justin Fields in the game.
It wasn't even him performing bad.
No,
I don't think Andy Dalton played bad. It's just you screwed up his rhythm by taking him out. That's all that was. He was having a great drive, and then you take him out, and that really just fucked him up.
Not saying that he's doing bad. I'm saying that, like, the team doing bad, that reflects on him. They don't score there. Yeah, he lost his momentum and he didn't score, and I'm sure the crowd was like chanting for Justin Fields.
Yeah. So Justin Fields had he came in on random plays. He came in like one play at a time. So Andy Dalton would have a drive. They'd get to like the 30, almost in the red zone. They'd put Justin Fields in. He'd make a play. He'd have one play, and then he'd get taken off for Andy Dalton again. I don't know if they're just like using him to take a breather for Andy Dalton, or to switch it up, or show some, trickery. But my urinating tree put this perfectly. The Bears are really using Justin Fields as a shiny gadget toy. If that's the case, why the hell did you trade a future first to move up and select him? You can get that kind of gimmicky shit with any mobile QB for vet minimum on the market.
True.
And I think that is the most accurate thing I've heard.
Very true.
On Justin Fields and the Bears. They're going to put him in. He's going to do, something mobile. And then they're going to take him out immediately. You didn't have to trade away part of your future for that. Because they traded up like 6 spots. No, because they were 18. Yeah, they traded up 7 spots to get Justin Fields. And I didn't think he was gonna be, starter ready, NFL ready out of that draft. I thought they should just have him sit a full season behind Andy Dalton.
Mm-hmm.
Have him sit there, learn the system, learn how the NFL works.
If you're losing by a lot or winning by a lot, put him in.
Mm-hmm. All of the rookie quarterbacks that started this week lost. Some of that could be, they weren't ready for they didn't look ready for the NFL. Like Trevor didn't look ready for the NFL. He's been hyped up since high school.
He's been hyped up since he was 16 years old. Now has a real job.
Now he's in the NFL and he did not look ready for it. Like Zack Wilson, he looked okay. I didn't think he looked.
He needs he needs time.
He needs a little bit of work. Give him this season to learn, and I think he could be, good. And I didn't watch Mac Jones. I know you watched.
Well, when we get into the game, not his fault we lost. Not his fault.
Okay.
He played great.
Did he? Okay.
No, he played good. Like, little sneak peek. Any takeaways from that game? It was not his fault. He played great.
All right, so that's 1 out of the 3 starters that were NFL ready. Justin Fields, I did not see him like that, and he comes in and just messes up Andy Dalton's rhythm.
Andy Dalton, he was like, "This is like, sorry, Justin, it's not your time. This is my time."
Yeah.
And it is just, my cat is stuck in the bag.
Nice.
It is.
It really would be every time
messing him up.
Every time Justin Fields went out, and then they just put Andy Dalton right back in. Andy Dalton didn't, look the same. He lost his momentum. He lost his rhythm, and I don't know what Matt Nagy's doing as a head coach.
What is Justin Fields realistically learning from a play? Like, yes, he got his first NFL touchdown. What is he learning from this?
He needs drives. If you're gonna throw him into the fire, just fucking do it. Send him in there. Be like, you're gonna start. You're gonna play. Give him a drive or two. If he doesn't do well, put it in Andy Dalton in.
If you want to start him, at least have the balls to be a dickhead to Andy Dalton and tell him to sit down.
Yeah, put him in there for a drive or two, and if he doesn't perform, be like, you're not ready. Show the fans he's not ready, because that's what the fans want. They're like, oh, bring in Justin Fields. They started booing Andy Dalton. This dude just cannot catch a break, Andy Dalton.
No.
I feel bad for him. And if Justin Fields doesn't pan out in the first few drives, pull him. It'll send a message. It'll be like, we put him in there. We tried it. It didn't work out, so we put Andy Dalton in. He's a trustworthy guy.
Andy Dalton's a better quarterback than people let on. People are like, oh, it's Andy Dalton. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's Andy Dalton.
It's Andy Dalton.
He led a dog shit Cincinnati team to the playoffs multiple times. Granted, he didn't win too many games there, but he led them there. Who else was on those teams? It was him and AJ Green. And then you had, who was on that defense? Vontez Burfict? Name another player. You can't. All right. But the Rams defense also. I'll talk about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I said probably top 5 defense. I'm going to up that to top 3 defense. They played
great.
Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald are
studs.
The most potent defenders in the league. The most. You have to double team Aaron Donald, and you cannot throw into Jalen Ramsey on 1-on-1.
Jalen Ramsey comes out and asks for people. Like, he says, I think he put on Twitter the other day, like, put me against your favorite receiver and watch me lock him up.
He will point to a receiver and be like, yeah, I'll take you. And then just
and then does.
one of the few players who can talk shit and prove it as well.
Yeah.
So, I think that the Rams are gonna be very, very, very good this year.
They're gonna make it. They're gonna make a deep playoff run this year.
That's why I put them as Super Bowl favorites, or Super Bowl bound, I should say.
Yeah, they're in my NL prediction.
One thing I saw, I'm just gonna get to this now since I brought up Super Bowl predictions. Who the fuck? I saw a ton of sports writers putting the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Not even like after this week, but before it too. The season hasn't started, and I see people putting San Francisco, who won like 4 games last year, in the Super Bowl.
It makes sense, but it's just not true. It's because Jimmy's playing and George Kittle's there, and they're like, it'll work. It'll work.
They're assuming their 3 best players are gonna come back from injury and be better than they were before. Because their 3 best players, Garoppolo, Kittle, and Nick Bosa, arguably the 3 best players. Fred Warner could be up there too. They all were out for most of the season last year, and that's why they did not perform. They're assuming that they're going to come back and be the best team in the NFC. And I do not see that, especially with their division looking so good. And then you also would have to get through Green Bay, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Like, I don't know about that one.
Man, again, little sneak peek into Seattle's game. Russ looked pumped up and scary.
Oh,
he looked like he wants to play football.
I got some stuff to say about that Seattle game.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, game of the year? Possibility?
No,
for Monday night footballs, Baltimore at Vegas.
Anthony and I were watching this, and it was Baltimore was up by a score, and it was 4th quarter, and he said, "We know what's gonna happen. I'm going to bed." And then I was like,
I didn't say I know what's gonna happen. I said I'm tired as fuck. I want to go to bed. Because I'm a bitch who goes to bed at like 11 o'clock now.
It needs to be. I wish that was me.
Zero shame in it too. Zero.
No, there shouldn't be. We need to wake up early.
Yeah.
I
wake up to multiple texts from people reacting to this game, and I'm like, what the fuck happened?
I watched it and I was like, I was rooting for the Raiders because I don't like the Ravens anymore.
I don't like the Ravens.
And I was like, I want them to win. And then they came back and they scored a touchdown. And I was like, oh, there is absolutely no way they just did this. And then it was like, it didn't count. And then they turned the ball over. And I was like, you didn't. There's no way. There's like Derek Carr was on the field celebrating and like shaking hands with the Ravens. Like, good game, good game. And then he has to go back out and play. And then I'm like, and then it's a pick, and I'm like, no way. And Lamar just gets eaten up, and I'm just like, okay. Oh, the ball is loose. Oh, Vegas now has the ball again. And then, they're just, and then Derek Carr's like, yep, I'm gonna float one out there. Gets great, like they're in field goal range, easy. And then he's like, no, touchdown. And just throws a touchdown. And I'm like, man's got massive balls. You could.
I love Derek Carr as a quarterback. I love him as a quarterback.
You could have kicked it. You could have easily kicked it when the game done. Nope.
I said this last night, and I'll say it again. Derek Carr is an average quarterback. I don't think he should be getting, franchise guy. Yes, I'd put him in the same room as Kirk Cousins. Franchise guy. He's not gonna really take you anywhere past the wild card round. Derek Carr.
Ugly helmet though.
He played a game. he was underthrowing guys, overthrowing guys.
The first quarter, I was like,
First quarter, we're like, this
dude,
dude's
you
a
suck.
quarterback.
You suck.
And then watching some fourth quarter highlights, I'm like, damn, this guy's kind of good. But a great win for Vegas. I think it really proves some people wrong. Granted, they're facing a Baltimore team that is injured to shit, but more on that later.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson, after they scored, and it was like, I don't remember how much was left. Not a lot to tie it up with a field goal. And Lamar Jackson was just smiling his ass off on the sidelines, like, we just won this game. This is great. I get to go home. And then he was depressed after. He's like, we have to go to overtime. And then he lost, and it was funny because his losing face, he was so unhappy.
Lamar looked like I don't know even how to describe it. He looked frustrated with himself a lot throughout this game.
Well, it was because
he tried to do so much and couldn't. He couldn't
he saw Kyler Murray, which again we'll get into later, and was like, I need to be that. And then he would take the snap, look for half a second. Oh, nobody's open. I guess I should run. And you can't, look what Cam Newton did. Yeah, Lamar put up an MVP season. He played great. You keep running. He keeps getting hit, and that's going to wear him down. And you need to start throwing it. That's the Ravens' main idea now, because they got Sammy Watkins, is they need to throw it more. And Lamar had some good. He had some good on the run throws. I mean, take it. They were 10-yard throws, and they were, but they weren't wobbly. He looked like he was comfortable doing it, but he just needs to take time in the pocket and look for a pass, because he cannot. He can't keep running like he does, because he thinks he's a running back, and he can't do it.
Lamar literally tries to rush everything.
He does.
He'll look, and if someone's not open, he'll scramble. And it's like, you've built this offensive line. You have a good offensive line, and you're just not utilizing it. You're looking for half a second, and you're just like, oh fuck, it's been half a second. They're gonna be coming my blind side soon. I gotta get out of here. And so he just scrambles out of the pocket, and he tries to make a play, and he just can't make a play. And
he fumbled the ball that way, and he lost the game.
I'm pretty sure the Raiders played a spy that entire game almost. Because they were playing mostly zone coverage. Because that's how you have to play. You can't really turn your back to him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they kept a spy on him, because he didn't do a lot with his legs. Now that I'm,
Oh god, the Raiders D line. The Raiders D line. Oh my god.
No, the Raiders D line's actually good.
That's what I'm saying. Oh my god, did they play?
I know the Raiders D line gets mad underrated, because they have Carl Nassib and Yannick Ngakoue, and I don't even think I need to say any more names, because just having those two are very good.
The D-line had a football game.
Yeah, I think the defense, just in general, you're going to give up points to the Ravens just, because they're, they do have a good offense. But they put on a show. They showed that Lamar is vulnerable. And I think next week, Lamar is going to be vulnerable again.
Kansas City, right?
Yeah, that's that game.
Oh yeah, the ending play for the Ravens, the fumble, it wasn't that bad of a hit. It was a try to strip him, and he did, and it looked easy.
Yeah.
They got to him, and whenever they got to him, nothing happened. So if you get that pressure on their O-line, they're not going to score, because he's not going to want to throw it. Because he'll try to run, or he'll look, think, nope, I got to run. And then when he realizes he has to run, he can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't I don't see Lamar winning a championship soon.
I
If
don't.
I'm gonna like everyone's.
I don't think they can. I don't see the Ravens unless they fix him. The Ravens are not winning a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's not getting a ring. I don't care what anybody says. He's not getting a ring.
I do not think he will have a season like his MVP season. I think that was I don't want to say a fluke because he did play well and he has played like pretty good since, but I think that was gonna be the best year he's gonna have in the NFL.
He's gonna have highlights and then he's just gonna lose games.
Yep. So let's get into some other games now. Just quicker games.
Not big ones.
Philly at Atlanta. Philly wins 32-6.
I thought it was.
Watch this one?
I watched a bit because some of the broadcasts weren't loading. I didn't really want to watch it because I knew it wasn't going to be great. Jalen Hurts had a game.
Atlanta played like shit. I don't want to judge Jalen Hurts yet. He put up great stats.
I hate how
the thing it doesn't show is that he played the Falcons defense.
Yeah.
So I'll wait until next week to judge Jalen Hurts.
Who is the Eagles playing next week?
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But Atlanta played like shit. Kyle Pitts dropped some balls. I don't know why they picked him in the 4th overall. Atlanta's not having a successful rebuild. 28-3 happened, and they have not been good since.
Nope.
So, Philly played a game. They stopped Atlanta. Big whoop. Next game. San Fran at Detroit. San Fran wins 41-33.
Too many
points. Lions almost came back.
Jared Goff's Lions debut, and he almost won, and I dislike that because the Lions are supposed to be bad.
Yeah,
and the Niners are supposedly supposed to be better than 41. I mean, 41 is a lot of points to put up against a football team. 33 is not good. You can't your defense can't give up that much when you're winning that much.
Yeah, I'm just gonna mention this now instead of put it on the injuries. Jeff Akuda goes down with an Achilles after the clip goes viral of him getting fucking destroyed by his coach. Again, take it out of context. He gets yelled at. All players get yelled at, and then you show the embrace afterwards, and then you tear your Achilles. That's kind of tragic. But Detroit didn't play bad. They didn't play great. San Fran's defense, or their secondary mostly, not as great as a lot of people remembered. They gave up a lot of passes. Their front was pretty good, but they almost blew it in the second half. The Lions had the ball. They lost by 8. They had the ball because they recovered an onside kick, I believe. Maybe not. They did something to where they got the ball back within the last minute and they just couldn't get it done. But I think Detroit's going to surprise some people this year.
I mean, Jared Goff is not a bad quarter. He just gets a bad rap because he lost the Super Bowl and he got replaced by Matt Stafford, a better quarterback. Jared Goff is not a bad quarterback. He's
average.
Yeah. But I mean,
he's definitely not worth all the money they gave him. That's for sure.
No.
But he could be a franchise guy.
He likely will stay there for a while.
Yeah. Next game, blowout. Arizona at Tennessee. Arizona wins 38-13.
I did watch a lot of this game, and I said backyard football before. Kyler Murray was just having so much fun. He was just like, you know what? I'm going to throw it up after, like, he had to scramble and he ran a lot, and then he's like, I'll throw. And just throws basically a Hail Mary and just touchdown. And it's like, how does he do that?
That's how Kyler Murray plays football when he knows he has DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, he just made every catch, in which leads me to say, early hot take, Kyler Murray's kind of better than Lamar Jackson.
I would say that.
Kyler Murray can throw more. Kyler Murray is more athletic. He's just better football player.
There was a reason why Lamar was at the combine and like on draft day, why Lamar was being considered to change positions from a quarterback to a running back or a receiver. And then there are also reasons why Kyler Murray was also the number 1 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray throws it super well. He's got a great accurate arm. It can go deep. And then he can run the ball like a running back. Like, he can take it, and he will spend time in the pocket. He'll scramble a little bit, go left, go right. Doesn't find anything, then he'll take it up the sideline or even up the middle sometimes.
And what I like he's good at, which I'm sure the coaches in Arizona love, is he doesn't get hit too hard too often. He likes to slide. He likes to run out of.
He knows how to go down.
He mostly goes out of bounds, but he doesn't get hit, which is great for him. It'll keep him in the league a lot more.
Yeah. I didn't see a lot from the Tennessee offense. I know Mike Vrabel was kind of pissed off at Julio, because Julio didn't perform too well. I think he went like 3 catches on 6 targets and like.
He also drew a penalty, yards. I think.
He drew an unnecessary roughness penalty. That one I saw. That's the one Mike Vrabel was like, it's just dumb shit. But also the Arizona defense, holy shit.
Oh, were they just on fire?
This is what happens when you have J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. You spend so much time preparing for J.J. Watt because you know how dangerous he is, so you double team him, and then you let Chandler Jones get 5 sacks. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, he had a game.
When Chandler Jones is your weak side linebacker, there's some trouble there. Cardinals
are a scary football team.
Yeah, Cardinals could make a playoff run this year, I think.
Yeah.
Next game, Seattle at Indy.
This is the one I wanted to watch and that I watched the majority of. Carson Wentz didn't play like last year Carson Wentz, getting benched and being bad. He looked composed. He looked like he knew what he was doing. The Steelers, I think, just ran the ball too much. They have... Did I say Steelers? I meant the Colts.
Cool. You sure?
Yeah, Carson Wentz and the Colts.
Okay. I don't know if I thought you were talking about the Seahawks for a second.
No, I think the Colts ran the ball a little too much. They have receivers that can catch the ball.
But they also do have Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines. So it's understandable why they run the ball a lot.
Yeah, but...
Marlon Mack. Do they still have Marlon Mack?
The running, it just didn't work, is my point. They didn't have too much success.
They do have Marlon Mack.
And then on the other side of the ball, Russell Wilson, he was fired up. He was he looked very locked in.
Let Russ cook. That's all I gotta say.
He was don't sleep on Russ. He was playing a good game.
Maybe this will be the year Russ gets an MVP vote.
Maybe.
I still don't know how he hasn't gotten a single vote. Even in their 2 years where they went to the Super Bowl, Russ did not get a vote. Last year he played well and everyone's like, oh yeah, Russ for MVP. And then he died off after 12 games. But Seattle played solid football. They played good against a very good Indianapolis defense. Indy could have been in this game had they converted on 4th downs more. I remember 2 4th downs in the red zone or close to the red zone where they just could not convert. And had that happened, this game could have ended a lot different.
Or when they just decided to punt it away on 4th and inches, and it's you could do that. And I saw Carson a couple times. So go for it, let's go.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
maybe not the best play calling or like design by Frank Reich that could have lost in the game, but overall,
The
not
Colts
a
the
not
Colts
a
are
bad
improving.
showing. Not a bad showing by both teams.
Uh,
This could have gone either way. All
uh
right.
yeah, next up is Chargers and the football team.
I watched the highlights for this game and I'm just like, I don't know. Both teams underwhelmed me. I didn't expect Washington to do great. But you know, I don't know. This was just a weird game.
Yeah, everybody wanted Herbie to play like amazing, like, highlight game. He's not going to be a star player every 3 seconds. You need to give him a minute to he's still developing. He still doesn't, he's still figuring everything out.
This game though, it did prove that the Chargers offensive line is legit. The Chargers spent some time rebuilding their O-line. They picked up Rashawn Slater in the draft, and it paid off. When you Washington has probably one of the best defensive fronts in the league, I would say. Chase Young is the reigning defensive player of the year. You have Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, and Montez Sweat. Those are very good players who could be playmakers on any team, and be a name. But they're all on one team, Washington.
Who it's Washington. They're not. They're known for having good players that don't do anything.
They
can't go anywhere.
They haven't been an offensive-based team since Robert Griffin III. They've, focused mainly on defense, and it really still shows that they're not an offensive-minded team.
Which hinted at a possible return.
RG3?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No, I did not see that.
No, he said, "Hey, Washington, call me up."
I saw that he signed the deal with ESPN as a college football analyst.
Oh,
which I'm a big fan of. I think that's gonna be awesome.
He mentioned how he would I don't remember what it was, like a really vague tweet. I think it was like make the call or something. But we all know what he meant.
Yeah. But I think the Chargers played okay. Herbert, he didn't play terribly.
No, he had a good game.
I watched this one play. This one play will be in my mind forever because I just love the balls on Herbert for doing this. There's 4 receivers out to the right and 1 to the left. And it's just one-on-one coverage with Mike Williams on the left. And everyone's just, he could have easily thrown the ball as like a screen because they're on like the 2-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
They're about to get a touchdown. They're going to score either way. He could have easily thrown a screen and you got 3 guys setting picks for you. But he chose to just throw it one-on-one to the back corner of the end zone. And I'm like, damn. And then Mike Williams comes down with that. And I'm just, this team could be playoff bound this year. Very easily.
I like the Chargers. They're a nice team. They're not threatening and mean.
They're an easy team to root for.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to say.
You kind of want them to succeed, even if you're not like a fan of them.
Just like look at any of Justin Herbert's clips from Chargers YouTube channel, and you'll love the dude.
Yeah. Jets at Carolina. Did you watch any of this game?
I didn't watch too much, but
I wish I didn't.
You watched this one?
I watched a little bit of it. I got home from work and it was on, and I'm just like, the quality of play here isn't great.
I'm very glad that Sam Darnold won. Yeah.
Sam Darnold played pretty well. He connected with Robbie Anderson a bit. That's like a good connection that they had when they were both in New York. But I think
both Sam Darnold
played okay.
I think Sam Darnold is going to be the guy in Carolina for a while.
I don't know if he's gonna be like. I don't know how long term of a guy Sam Darnold is. I don't think he's bad, but I do not think he's good. I would put him in like bottom 10 quarterbacks in the league,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. Carolina might be shopping soon. That's all I'm saying. But Zach Wilson, we already talked about Zach Wilson. He put up some nice plays, you know. He didn't play terribly.
He needs time.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
You can't throw him in already. Expect him to be amazing. Again, we keep talking about the standards set by Justin Herbert, which people are not always going to live up to.
Yeah, especially coming out of BYU. BYU didn't play a lot of good schools this year. They played a ranked Coastal Carolina, who also did not play a lot of good schools that year. And during a COVID year where a lot of good schools didn't even play or played a very limited season. So you have to consider that he's not playing top competition. And that's all I got to say about that. Give him some time, and Zach Wilson will hopefully be fine.
I feel like he'll be the guy for the Jets, and the Jets are just not gonna. They're gonna be the Jets.
Yeah, the Jets are the Jets.
The Jets is the Jets. Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
Cleveland at Kansas City.
I thought Cleveland was gonna win this game.
I almost put this as a headline game, but then I decided against it after Baker Mayfield threw a pick in the 2-minute drill. A bad pick. That was one of the worst picks I've seen.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting. You want to see the Browns with the upset. The Browns is another team that's easier to root for,
especially now.
Especially against Kansas City. For a lot of people like underdog stories, the Browns are probably the ultimate underdog story the past couple of years. They made it to the divisional. They were 5 points away from making it to the AFC Championship, and 4 years prior they were 0-16. So the Browns played okay. The Chiefs played okay. Mahomes and Kelsey are just way too much for literally any team to handle.
That's true.
If you shut down that matchup, I think you shut down the Chiefs. It's just a matter of making sure you can shut down Tyreek as well.
Which is hard because you stay on him and then he burns you.
Yeah, he's probably the fastest receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
one of. And Kelsey is just obviously a dominant playmaker. And then you just have to hope to score more points than them. It's tough going up against a team, and Cleveland almost did it, but kind of choked in the end. They had a good lead heading into the fourth, I believe. But rip Cleveland. I hope they do better next time.
Yeah.
I think they'll meet again. I called this already. They're gonna meet again in the divisional. Cleveland's gonna get their revenge. Next game.
This is my game. I didn't get to watch this because I was at work.
I thought you watched it, but
I watched the highlights.
I didn't watch this at all. I saw the fumble and that's it.
Yeah, we lost because of a fumble. That kind of sucks, but it's what are you gonna do? Mac Jones went out there and he played a game. He was professional. He was locked in though. And you can even see it because after he threw the touchdown to, I think it was Nelson Aguilar, pretty sure. He didn't want the ball. Like they were shoving the ball in his hands and he was tossing it to the side because he was so locked in. He was like, I don't want to think about this right now. I'm playing football, and that's scary because he was playing football. He looked good. He looked comfortable. Obviously, I'm not gonna expect a deep playoff run from his first season in the NFL. A couple years down the line, I'm gonna look at him with high expectations. The ceiling is very high.
Yeah, I don't I didn't watch this game, so I'm not going to judge this game. I'm just going to, talk about the teams and my expectations for them this season. The Pats, I think, are doing a rebuild correctly. They're doing a soft rebuild. They
We
lose
don't
their
we don't need
big franchise
much.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lose their franchise guy, but they keep a majority of their defense, and they keep adding new pieces like Matt Judon, which obviously improves the team. You totally killed free agency. Like, you guys did great. You picked up Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar.
We never really like to spend money.
You never like to spend money until you lose Tom Brady.
Yeah. Of which we did not pay.
Yeah.
To, pay for other things. But, I mean, the Dolphins also went out and played a game. The Dolphins played great.
But yeah, the Dolphins they were a 10-win team last season, but they missed the playoffs.
I don't have anything bad or amazing to say about the game. Tua played fine. People harp on Tua. You need to give him a minute.
My question is Tua's longevity.
Mm.
He's never been able to stay healthy. He played kind of limited last season because they had Fitzpatrick, and then they'd put Tua in. He'd start losing a game, and then they'd just put Fitzpatrick in. This is the season for Tua to really prove himself, and Miami fans really hope that he does. And some other people obviously will, I want the guy to stay healthy. I want him to succeed, but if he does it in Miami, who knows? Maybe he'll become a new journeyman.
I think it's a possibility that he could. But yeah, takeaway, Mac Jones had a good game. It's his first season, and he's playing pretty good. So I'm just happy with that. I'm not looking for too much.
Yeah. So I'm gonna skip over this next part.
Mm-hmm.
Some injuries that happened literally the day after last episode. Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters, both Ravens, they both tore their ACL on back-to-back plays in practice. What are your takeaways from this one?
You can't do that. you bit aside, you can't do that. You can't be doing that.
I saw a lot of things on could this be on the Ravens strength coaches? Could they be putting them through too much physical stress in practices, in lift, in a lot of these, because these are the fourth and fifth injuries that happened in the off season. Almost all season ending. So at what point do the coaches have to take responsibility for either pushing too hard at practice, or where does that come in?
Yeah, I think they could be. I think they probably are just they have to follow their own. Or they have to follow a regimen that's made for them, and although they keep it healthy themselves, they're pushed by their coaching staff, and it's their livelihood to stay healthy. But 2 in a row, is that a fluke, or is that how does it happen?
Literally back-to-back plays. After 2 weeks prior, 2 of your running backs are out for the season, one with an ACL, one with an Achilles.
It does bring up to question why. Is it individual? Is it by chance?
I think it's a little fishy. How running backs 1, 2, and 3 go out with leg injuries.
Running back 1 played against the Las Vegas, and Lamar didn't do good.
I did not catch on to that. I didn't get onto that because I'm until you said Vegas, because J.K. Dobbins did play in the preseason, and that's where he got like hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, yeah, but the Ravens also showed the facts that they do not play their starters as any other team. Like they play them almost the like amount in the entire league. But that was a good one, bringing back Lamar.
Um,
So the injury, I think the injury to Marcus Peters is huge for them. Because we saw last night that Raiders secondary, kind of, shut down some of Lamar.
You can't. Yeah, it shows that if you have a good D line, you're not going to run the ball, and it forces Lamar to throw, which yes, he's been working on, but it's not his thing. He's a quarterback, but he's a running quarterback at heart.
Yeah, and Marlon Humphrey is still on this team, and he is still good, but he can only cover half the field. Marcus Peters was, he covered the other half. And so the Raiders kind of got by him. I saw some really good plays by Hunter Renfrow. I think this is going to be his breakout year. He's had to be behind, Darren Waller, one of the great pass catching tight ends of, the past year and a half, whatever. And then you had Nelson Aguilar last year and Henry Ruggs. I think you're really going to see Renfrow start to take over.
Yeah, I could back that.
But not having Marcus Peters was pretty big for the Ravens. But having these injuries to running backs, we talked about Le'Veon getting signed last episode. And then the day after, literally the day after, Devontae Freeman and Latavius Murray signed with the Ravens as running back. So now, with Lamar, Le'Veon, Latavius, and Devontae Freeman, they have 4 rushers, who have had 1,000-yard rushes. What's your takeaway on that one? I'm sure you got something to say.
Bad team. Stop running the ball. I mean, again, going back to if you have good D-line, Ravens lose games.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're all going to get playing time. Like, they're going to switch the running backs out like crazy. Which, I mean, I guess is good because, less gassed running backs. But, like, it adds so much diversity to a group where I don't know that diversity is good. You don't want too many new faces all the time. Like, you're seeing a new running back every play, and it's like, what is this? You can see how someone's, you can see how one person is playing that night, and you can rely on them, or like the Ravens are going to do, they're going to keep switching players and allow no running back to shine in a single game, which could happen.
Yeah. So the Ravens in their existence since 1996 when they stole the Cleveland Browns. The Ravens have always been a defense first, and then we run the ball. Even like their Super Bowl wins, in 2000 they had Ed Reed, Rod Woodson, Ray Lewis, Tony Siragusa. They have these dominant defensive players, and then you got a sort of no-name quarterback in Trent Dilfer, and then you got Jamal Williams, a really solid running back who can rush for 1,000 yards. In their 2012 Super Bowl run, they had Terrell Suggs. I think Ray Lewis, Ed Reed was still on this team. Ray Lewis might have still been on this team. I'm not sure yet. Ray Lewis went out with his ring, right? Is that a thing? Yeah, Ray Lewis got it. And then you had Ray Rice, who was at the time a dominant running back before, the elevator. But they've always been defense first, and then we run the ball on offense. Joe Flacco was that quarterback. No, he did his best.
Mm-hmm. All right, enough about the Ravens.
Yeah, you really don't want to talk about them anymore.
No. Fitzmagic. He's injured, man. He got hit. His hip.
Put him on IR today.
Poor fucking guy. He cannot catch a break.
Actually can't. He's in his 13th season, his 9th team.
He's like, finally, I'm gonna have a team. I can sit down. I could play a couple years of football and then leave. And then he gets injured.
This was his team.
Yep.
He was gonna, he was starting. His only competition was Taylor Heineke, who, God knows what happens. He had one good playoff game, which he lost. And, who knows how else he really performs. There's not enough data on him.
Yeah.
But this was going to be Fitzpatrick's team, and now he's out. Forget the timetable he's out for. He's out for a couple of weeks. He should be back before the end of the hip injury. But Taylor Heineke going to be starting this week and probably next. Next. I watched this one.
Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I watched this one live. Jerry Jeudy goes down with an ankle injury. So he caught the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and someone tackled him up, kind of high, about the shoulders, chest. Good routine tackle. And then someone fell on his lower leg.
And then his ankle.
The way it turned isn't how it's supposed to turn. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, it's broken. They just dacked. Like
season-ending injury right there.
I thought it was season-ending. Like, you watching the video,
it looks season-ending.
And then they come out the next day and they're like, it's only a high ankle sprain. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. And like, there's no way this dude's gonna come back and be able to play this season. Like, that's just, there's no way.
He needs to get like a new foot.
That's what it looked like. But I'm glad it wasn't, season ending. Jerry Jeudy's a fun receiver to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He can do a lot, and he's only in his second year, so he's still young. So that's some upside to this. But the Broncos are gonna miss him. But they still do have Cortland Sutton and Noah Fant, so they should be fine. The next topic was today. I don't know if you've even heard about this one.
I did.
6 offensive coaches for New Orleans test positive for COVID. So, obviously they're not going to be able to be at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in Jacksonville. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. But they were in Jacksonville. And their next game is going to be at Carolina. I don't think it's going to affect anything too much. I think the Saints are still going to go in there, play their game. They're going to have their game plan set up. You can do all like the scheming and prep work on Zoom. It's just, you're going to have other guys running practices. That's all it really is.
Yeah.
So that's it for all the news. Let's go into the week 2 previews. Yeah. Thursday night, the New York Giants go into to face the Washington football team. And Washington are 3.5-point favorites. What's your take on this game?
I mean, different quarterback situation, but if the Giants played like they did, I don't know. It's so up in the air of how Heineke's gonna play quarterback.
Listen, this is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones as a starter is 8-19. I think was the stats. I think that was the stats. He's 8-19
With what?
against what? What do you mean with what? Just as a starter.
Oh.
Eight wins and 19 losses.
Yeah. All right.
Against Washington, he is 4-0. So half of his 8 wins are against Washington. So you can't count him out against him, especially now Washington has lost their starting quarterback. They have to go to their backup. But hopefully the Giants, get discipline, because we did give up a lot of penalties. We gave up a lot of unnecessary yardage. So hopefully Joe Judge will go in there and know what he's doing this week. Know the game plan, know what's going on. Washington is favored by 3.5. I think it's gonna be a little closer than that, just because Washington's defense is so good.
I do agree with that. I think I don't know. I'd say it's like it could really go either way.
Yeah.
One of those games you just kind of have to watch to see what's going to happen.
It's one of those games that's gonna be bad, but you're gonna want to watch it because it's gonna be kind of funny. You always got something that's so bad it's funny.
Yeah.
This is probably gonna be one of those games, so I will definitely be watching.
Yeah,
but I feel like a lot of people won't. This is such a weird primetime game.
Next, we have Bengals in Chicago.
Chicago are 3-point favorites, and
I disagree.
I
disagree.
On the other way.
I think Bengals are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close, but it's gonna be weird.
I think the Bengals are a better football team. Honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I think the way the Bengals played last week and the way what is it?
How comfortable their quarterback situation is, because Andy Dalton is like, what is going on? And Joe Burrow is like, I think I have this. He looks so comfortable.
Yeah. It's gonna be a weird game, but I think Cincinnati's gonna go 2-0, and Chicago's gonna go 0-2. Just because I don't think Chicago's gonna still stick with the 2 QB system, and Justin Fields is gonna ruin Andy Dalton's momentum, and then they're gonna blame Andy Dalton, and then they're gonna play Justin Fields, and he's not gonna play well, so they're gonna put Andy Dalton in full time, and then they're gonna play well. That was a lot of words.
And it'll be.
What I think's gonna happen.
And it's not Justin Fields' fault.
And no, it is Justin Fields' fault. It's not Andy Dalton's fault.
Well, I mean that he's being put in.
Oh yeah, I think Chicago fans are on like a fine line with Philly fans.
Pick a new team.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Philly fans, if you're a Philly fan, which there's probably not a lot of people watching in general, but you better not be a Philly fan.
My strength and conditioning coach is a Phillies fan.
Yeah, one of my friends is a Philly fan, and
Poor guy.
Normally not obnoxious, and then he starts talking about Philly sports, and then he becomes obnoxious. Because all Philly sports fans are obnoxious when they talk about sports. I feel like Chicago fans are like that as well. Maybe not to like the degree of Philly, but
Chicago fans in a game though.
Yeah.
They get upset. So yeah. I think Bengals take this. I don't even think it's gonna be that close. I think they're gonna like a score.
Yeah, Matt Nagy doesn't know what to do with Justin Fields, but he wants to please the crowd, especially since they're gonna be at home. The crowd's gonna want to see Justin Fields, and then they're gonna see Andy Dalton take the field and be like, whatever. And they're gonna put him in more. and just ruin everything. Let him develop. Let him sit for a season. You don't need to start him immediately.
You don't.
Tom Brady didn't start immediately, and he's the greatest of all time. Aaron Rodgers didn't start immediately, and he's a pretty damn good quarterback, just not this week.
There's just a lot of weird, like Trevor Lawrence. He won the starting job, and he has to be a rookie starter. Zack Wilson. They gave away their quarterback. They don't have any other choice.
Yeah. Mac Jones won the starting job. He played.
He did, but I still. I know why we got rid of Cam. I wish we had him still, but I know why we don't.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Houston at Cleveland. Cleveland
1-0 Texans against the Browns, who are gonna get curb stomped.
This is the biggest. This is the biggest.
Other way around.
No, never mind. Second biggest line. I just saw one of something down there. Second biggest line of 12.5. Cleveland. Do you expect anything from Houston?
I expect a score or two, and then Cleveland will be like, oh, actually no, one score. Cleveland defense is good.
Yeah, I'll put them at. I'll say Houston 14, Cleveland like 30.
Yeah,
maybe like 30, 7, something like that.
They're
something
gonna
along the lines.
They're gonna score early. They're gonna have a lot of momentum, and they're gonna just play good. The Browns are gonna play a good football game. Easy win.
Yeah, something along the lines of blowout.
Yeah.
But Houston still shows some life. I don't know. I hope Houston carries at least some momentum, carry some upside into this next game.
Mm-hmm.
But Cleveland's gonna win it. I think that's pretty set in stone.
Yeah. Next game, yeah, Rams and Indy.
Rams are 4-point favorites.
I do give this to the Rams.
I agree with that.
It's the Colts are gonna I think they're a different game. They're gonna
put up more of a fight than the Bears. That's for damn sure.
I think they're gonna put up at least two scores.
The Colts, I think, will put up. I think it's gonna be a very low scoring game. I think three.
Yeah. No.
I think three scores wins it. Both of these defenses are so good. But Indy's offensive capabilities are a lot less than the Rams.
It's so unknown because the Colts could click and become a good offense, and they just haven't yet.
These are both like teams with new franchise quarterbacks.
New quarterbacks, new receivers.
Not even just new quarterbacks, new franchise guys.
Yeah.
These guys are going to be with the team for the next for probably the majority of their careers. Or the majority of what's left of their careers.
Poor Ryan Kelly was like, "Hey, Andrew Luck, get buddy because you're going to love him. You're going to be best friends." And he's just gone through so many quarterbacks, and it's, you need that good quarterback center relationship, and he has to learn how to build another one. And they're not going to be putting, because there was a lot of miscues with Carson Wentz and Ryan Kelly.
Yeah.
And you're not going to not see that until they build the connection.
And a lot of that's due to the lack of a preseason for both of them. Ryan Kelly was out for most of it with an injury, and Carson Wentz missed the 5 weeks with the foot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that if they're not going to be able to clean that up in 1 week, I think give it 2 weeks, or not 2 weeks. Give it like 4 to 5, and maybe they'll start getting all those miscues cleaned up, and they'll start acting like a playoff team, like that. We all know that they could be.
Next year, Colts are going to play a lot better than this year. This year, Colts are figuring themselves out. Next year, Colts are going to play a lot better.
Well, this year, everyone's like, oh, what's Carson Wentz going to do? I didn't think he was going to do well. I'm not the biggest Carson Wentz fan. just because of what he did off the field last year in Philly.
He did whine.
He was a crybaby, but he got what he wanted, so he's out of there. I think their first 5 games, it usually determines a lot. And their first 5 games were Seattle, the Rams. I know they play the Titans somewhere in there. Then the Dolphins, and then the Ravens. So all of those teams were 10-win teams last season. And it really makes you think. Will the Colts be able to bounce back after a really tough 5-game stretch at the beginning of the season?
We'll see. I'll love to see. I want to see Carson Wentz succeed.
I don't care what happens with the Colts this year.
I don't know why. I want him to.
All right, next game. Buffalo 3-point favorites in Miami.
I think this is pretty gonna be a pretty quick one. Yeah, the Buffalo is a better team. Miami is gonna put up a fight. You know, we saw Buffalo struggle against Pittsburgh. Miami is obviously a great team. Buffalo is the better team and is gonna win by 3 points. That's it.
By 3? You think they only win by 3?
It's gonna be a close game.
I think Buffalo's pissed right now.
That could happen where they come out and Josh Allen is like, "You're dead."
This is gonna be a Josh Allen revenge game because they lost last week. Josh Allen's gonna come out and he's gonna throw for like 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and like 1,000 yards or something in one game. I think Buffalo takes this by 2 scores. I think the money line's a little closer than it's really gonna be.
I could see it that way too. I could see them winning by a field goal. I could see them winning by a score, which is likely what's going to happen, or even 2 scores. With Josh Allen is understandably upset because that is not the way you want. Because you were deep in the playoffs last year. It's not the way you want to start your season against Pittsburgh, and of all places. And don't count out Pittsburgh, but also you're the Bills. You're supposed to be a lot better than what you did.
Yeah.
All right.
They underperformed, but they should be back on track now.
My New England Patriots facing off against the Jets.
In New York.
That's a W for the Pats.
Pats are 5.5-point favorites, and I think that's about right.
We cut down on the penalties. We understand what we did wrong. Mac Jones had a good feel, and the Patriots just have more weapons on both sides of the ball than the Jets do. We just have we have better football players. It's a better team. The Jets have improved, but I don't see them. I don't see them as a better team than the Patriots.
Yeah, the first rookie quarterback matchup of this season. I think it's going to be good. I think the Jets are going to pull it a little closer than some people might think. Their defense isn't good, but
the Patriots are still trying to figure themselves out after a rebuild, a short rebuild.
What I saw the Jets do offensively was pretty good.
Yeah.
Zack Wells was slinging the ball. His receivers know how to catch, which is always a good thing. I think it's gonna be closer, but New England still takes it. They have so much more upside. Next game, San Francisco goes into Philadelphia. San Francisco only 3.5-point favorites. I think this is the game I want to watch.
This will be a game. This is
the game I judge Jalen Hurts off of.
Because go ahead.
Against Atlanta, against San Fran, then I'll be impressed. A lot of people were impressed with what he did last week, and it's like you're against Atlanta. That's not impressive. If he does it against San Francisco, I will change my narrative entirely.
The 49ers have been so hyped up, and I could see this going so many ways where the 49ers figure it out, stomp the Phillies, or the Phillies, Jesus. Golly.
The baseball team out there. way.
the Eagles, and I can also see the Eagles doing great against the Niners, or I could see it as a close game. It's gonna be like one of those. It's just gonna be a football game, but it'll be different to watch.
I'm gonna take San Fran by 10. I think it'll be close for the majority of it, but San Fran's gonna run away with it just because their defense is so much better.
I can agree with you.
Philly doesn't quite know what it's doing with its offensive capabilities yet, and San Fran's defensive line is spicy. So I'm gonna take San Fran by 10.
The Raiders in Pittsburgh, the two teams who caused upsets.
Yeah, I would say these were the two biggest upsets.
Both teams were not supposed to win their football games, and they did.
What is it? Wasn't it not? There were 9 upsets this week, or something like that. Like 9 teams upset the favorites, and Vegas and Pittsburgh were 2 of those teams. So I took the money line from yesterday. I wonder if that's changed because it was before the Raiders beat the Ravens. It says Pittsburgh's 6-point favorite, but I want to see if that's changed yet.
Yeah, because after that game, I don't know if Pittsburgh is 6-point favorites. I can obviously see Pittsburgh winning that game as they're still playing football, and Big Ben, I want to say his last season has still got some juice. And what?
It's only 5.5 right now.
I could see Vegas winning this game, honestly. I mean, the game against the Ravens was ugly, like no question about it. It was an ugly game. Both sides made mistakes.
It was an ugly first half for the Raiders, but I think they really got composed and they figured out what they were doing in the second half. Pittsburgh, I don't know what happened with Pittsburgh. I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch that game, but
I'm gonna say it was a fluke.
You're calling it a fluke? You're calling it that early?
I don't think I don't think the Steelers are a better football team than the Bills, and I think it was just bad cues on the Bills side, and it lost them the game. And I don't think the Steelers can do it.
A lot of people were calling it. They're calling a Bills Packers Super Bowl, and both of those teams lost in week 1 against teams that they should not have. Teams that could go to the playoffs, but they should have been better than. Like Pittsburgh, they should. I didn't predict them going to the playoffs, but I can see a reason for them to go to the playoffs. And New Orleans, again, I didn't put them in my playoffs, but they're one of the next best teams in the NFC. So just a little interesting thing. I see Vegas winning this game by a score.
I'd same.
Vegas just has, great defensive line.
Their offense is starting to click.
Their offense is really starting to click. Hunter Renfrow is going to have another big game.
It was funny in Vegas. They had to. Derek Carr was shutting up the audience because they were so loud. His receivers couldn't hear plays.
Yeah, we were watching Eli and Peyton's co-stream, and it was they were talking about that because there were some miscues because the Vegas crowd is so loud. So, you're supposed to be, if you go to a sporting event or if you go to a football game, be loud when your defense is on the field. Don't be screaming.
Shut up
and yelling.
when you're offense. Like scream when the ball is in the air or caught.
Yeah.
When your quarterback is
do not make
snapping,
noise.
Shut up.
Do not make noise pre-snap. Ever. Do not make noise pre-snap if your offense is on the field. Next game, New Orleans are 3 points favorites going into Carolina.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah.
I see it. I see a 2-score game.
Actually,
New Orleans,
I don't know about 3. Maybe a score, maybe 10.
10.
But I see New Orleans winning this game.
I can see 14, maybe even 17 points for New Orleans. I'm not sold on Carolina being decent.
I'm not sold on
I
them
think
yet,
Carolina.
but I think Carolina's going to be like a mid-tier team.
I think Carolina is gonna be the top on top of bad teams this year. Like if you
Yeah.
were to like put them in a tier list, they'd be at like the top of D tier. That's where I would put them. But New Orleans, they played against Green Bay. A lot of people saying Green Bay's going to the Super Bowl. They got Aaron Rodgers, and they just destroyed them.
Give us another week and we'll see.
Yeah. I think New Orleans. I still think they do so much better. I'm not. Who's Carolina got? Christian McCaffrey, Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
And that's it. I can name Derek Brown on defense, and that's it.
Oh, didn't they? They just drafted a quarterback.
Quarterback.
Cornerback.
Corner. They got
What's his name?
It's not Asante Samuel. Oh man.
That's
I know the name. I'm gonna feel dumb after I look this up. J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn, that's it. That's who I was thinking. That's the one they just drafted.
Yeah, so rookie corner who's starting. Who else is on this? Who else is on this defense? Oh, Dante Jackson, Shaq Thompson. Yetur Gross-Matos is on this team? Why is he not starting? They don't know talent when they see it. Can't believe these people. Alright. Next game is going to be Denver at Jacksonville. Denver's 6-point favorites. I think it's
more than 6.
Yeah.
Denver's better team. Jacksonville's not going to win. Maybe 2 scores next game.
If Denver's
kind of it.
Or if Denver's secondary performs to what they should be, Trevor Lawrence is going to throw 5 picks. That's all I'm saying.
Is Trevor Lawrence gonna be a Tim Tebow type of player?
No. I'm trying to think of like when are people gonna draw a line with him?
Yeah.
And say bust. When is that like? It might not happen. I'm not gonna say he's a bust yet, but
oh god, no! It's way
at some point.
If he doesn't win a couple games for Jacksonville,
probably during this season, some people are gonna say, "Is Trevor Lawrence a bust, or is Urban Meyer just not a good coach, or maybe Jacksonville's not like." There's gonna be excuses at some point, but Jacksonville's gonna be an interesting team to follow off of the field this year. I think that's an interesting.
Moving on, we have the Vikings and Arizona with a 4-point difference.
4-point spread.
You're stupid. They're gonna shoot 3 scores on Minnesota, easy. The Cardinals went against the Titans and scored high. They're gonna dog the Vikings.
I'm excited for this game. I think it's gonna be funny.
It'll be a good game if you're a Cardinals fan. That's gonna be a good game to watch.
Yeah, I don't want Chandler Jones to break the single season sack record just because Michael Strahan. But right now he does have 5 in one game, and the record is 22.5. So he's on pace, I would say. But I don't know. I trust the Vikings offensive line a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
The Vikings offense it's decent.
I think Kirk Cousins is good at getting the ball out. You know, you don't see him taking a lot of sacks, which is good.
Yeah.
But
his receivers are great.
Yeah, if he can find his receivers, and I think that's the weakest part of Arizona is their secondary and like the depth at that position.
Mm-hmm.
If they can utilize Jefferson and Thielen to their advantage, I think they could put it close. I'm gonna call it a 10-point game. For Arizona.
I'd say two score.
Yeah, that's 2 scores.
I meant like 14.
Oh. Okay. Atlanta at Tampa. Our biggest spread of the week is 13 for Tampa.
They're Tom Brady's gonna be grinning the entire game to say, "Oh, we were 21 up. What's gonna happen? You're gonna lose." They're gonna be up 21-3 and then still win. Like Tampa's gonna be up 21, and then put 21 more.
There is no universe in which Atlanta win this game.
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying.
If the entire Tampa Bay team gets injured, then still maybe.
I'm gonna check the ESPN odds because ESPN always has odds for each game, like this percent chance to win.
I don't care what it says. 0.
What do you think it is? No, but what do you think it is? What do you think NFL is gonna put it
20 or 30.
20 or 30?
Probably 20.
Let's see. Let me scroll down.
But in the real world, it's a 0. Absolutely 0 fucking way. There's...
It is. The Falcons have immediately no plays have been played, and the Falcons have a 21% chance to win.
Pretty close. I knew they'd give them more. They don't have that much.
Oh, the spread went down to 12.5.
Oh, that's just not gonna happen.
Oh, wow.
They're gonna probably score 12.5 more.
Yeah.
Not much to say. Tampa Bay's gonna win.
This next one's gonna be interesting. I'll be watching this one.
Dallas versus the Chargers.
In LA against the Chargers. Chargers are 3 points. 3-point favorites.
This will be a good game. I think if Dak can keep the momentum from the Tampa Bay game, which he almost won.
Yeah.
Then the Chargers should be a little afraid.
I think both teams have something to prove.
Yeah.
In this matchup, and it'll come down to who wants it more. I want to say I want the Chargers to win. I really do, but I think Dallas wins by a field goal. I'm gonna take the upset on this one. This is the first. This is the first one where I take the upset.
I still think the Chargers win this game.
I think Dallas is gonna want it more.
I think you're right, but I think the Chargers.
Dallas needs it more.
Yeah. I still think the Chargers are gonna win this game. Probably by a field goal, and then the Chargers are just gonna stop them, and they're not gonna be able to score.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it'll be a field goal, but it won't be a close game.
Next game should also hopefully be a good one.
If the Titans can pull their head out of their ass.
Well, Tennessee goes into Seattle. Seattle's 5.5-point favorite.
Which after the first week I would give them.
Yeah. Do you think Tennessee's gonna return to how they were last season?
Yeah.
And you think it's gonna happen this game?
It could. I think it'll start. They're gonna start watching film and go. The coaches are gonna be like, "You need to stop this," and like, it'll be a huge wake up call. I feel like to the Titans team, and then it'll be like, "Okay, we got it. We got to ball out. We got to play football."
I'm gonna keep Julio in my fantasy line. Or no, did I already take him out? I think I already took him out. I was gonna keep him in there just because maybe he's getting used to Tennessee. Maybe that game one was a fluke for him. He didn't play too much in the preseason. He had an injury. He was still going through trade stuff. I'm giving him too many excuses, but we'll see what happens. I think Julio's going to be the big factor to what happens with this team because you have AJ Brown,
Great
and
receiver.
that's about it for your receiving weapon. You lost Jonnu Smith. You lost who was it? Corey Davis. And then you're just gonna have Derrick Henry out of the backfield running and Tannehill
Who
throwing
isn't
to
a
AJ Brown.
catching back?
No. Derrick Henry's not a catching back. He's I'm gonna take the ball and run 5 yards with you on my back. But I think Seattle still wins this by a field goal, maybe a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's one score. Hopefully Tennessee can
figure themselves out. It'll be a good if they do. It'll be a great game to watch.
Yeah, if Tennessee plays like they did, this would be fun. It might, maybe even it could be a Super Bowl matchup in future years. Who knows? No.
I don't
Not
know.
buying it?
Depends on how long Russ plays and plays like Russ.
That's your problem with it? Your problem's not Tennessee? Your problem's not the Tennessee defense?
Well, I mean, assuming that they figure themselves out and get better pieces.
All right. Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
This should be a big one. Kansas City at Baltimore. The spread has changed since this. There it is. All right. Kansas City goes into Baltimore as 3.5-point favorites. What do you see out of this game?
Judging by the first week, Baltimore fans are about to be sad, winning 2 in a row.
Losing 2 in a row, you mean?
Yeah.
Did I say winning? Yeah, you said winning.
Oh no, they're gonna lose 2 in a row.
It's not gonna be the start they wanted, but it's gonna be the start that they get.
Kansas City are clicking and are a better team than they were last season, and are a good team now, and are gonna curb stomp your ass.
And that was a big thing that a lot of people pointed out. The Bucks, they returned all 22 starters, which is great, but they didn't improve at all. So in a league where teams are constantly improving, the Chiefs have the upper hand if they meet again, if they see the Bucks again. So,
well, they didn't really. The Bucks didn't really see any pieces they need to improve. They got a quarterback which they're sitting to learn, which is
they got a good quarterback that they're sitting too.
Kyle Trask.
Ooh. Yeah,
he's gonna learn good, and he's gonna have a great spot when it's his turn.
And then they drafted Joe Tyron, who he played on Thursday. He looked pretty decent, edge rusher, and that's about it. Other than that, they lack depth because you got to play. You got to pay your starters, pay the people who play the most, and then worry about who their backups are later. So they're finding cheaper guys. But Kansas City,
they improve?
They said, fuck it. We're going to restructure everyone's contract just so we can, pay everyone.
After that loss in the offseason, Patrick Mahomes went, that is not happening again. I played a game, and it was amazing. The way he playing, I mean.
Yeah.
And he must have been like, this is not happening again. This is absolutely not happening again.
And Andy Reid's like, yes, sir. Because what is it? They restructured Tyrann Mathieu' deal, I think, and Chris Jones, and someone else, I believe, so that they have more cap space, and they signed some more players. So good on them. They're gonna be the team to look out for, and they're gonna destroy Baltimore. 2 scores.
Yeah.
I say 14.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football. This is the matchup.
Oh, what a
The
matchup it
matchup
is.
everyone's been waiting for. This is gonna be so hype. Detroit goes into Green Bay. 10.5 point
Oh my
underdog.
god. What if Green Bay plays the same and Detroit
If Green
wins?
Bay if Green Bay plays the same, it'll be an even game.
Yeah,
That's
actually,
how I
yeah.
see it. That's how I see it. If Green Bay, Rodgers throws 2 picks, Aaron Jones will pick up the slack, and the defense will get a stop because it's not, Jameis. It's
Who
Jared Goff.
who do the Lions have other than Jared Goff?
Um, Let me pull that up real quick because I could not name
That yeah.
anyone because they got rid of their Tyrell Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, T.J. Hawkinson, Penei Sewell,
Oh,
Frank Ragnow.
yeah. TJ Hawkinson and Penei Sewell, but otherwise bad football team.
Yeah, not good football team.
Uh and they're going to lose to Green Bay. And
Yeah.
that's kind of it. Not much to say. They're just gonna lose.
Yo, Aaron Rodgers' revenge game is gonna throw 5 touchdowns. They're gonna win by like 4 scores.
I could see that. I could totally see that happening.
Yeah, I could see this being a total blowout, and I'm gonna probably tune out in the second half.
And that's all of the football news.
That's everything we got today. So, any hot takes after week 1?
After I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 74.6 or something like that completion percentage, the highest of any rookie with 30 throws.
Oh, I know what you're about to
Mac
say.
Jones is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. I said maybe last time. Mac Jones is the offensive rookie of the year. He's going to have a year.
All right.
Very promising.
I'm trying to think of a hot take.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta look something up real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a strange week of football, week 1. Kind of wish it didn't happen the way it did, because it was just like, why it looked like teams were just unprepared, and it looked like they needed to find their rhythm, but you shouldn't really have to find your rhythm that much in week 1.
Yeah. Okay, I got my hot take.
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville gets the number 1 overall pick again.
Oh,
There it is. We were saying Houston. I'm already flipping on that.
yo, what if Houston does the Jacksonville and wins the first game all hype and then doesn't win a game after that?
That'd be funny. The problem is Houston plays Jacksonville twice a year.
Ah.
That's where everything goes wrong, I feel like Jacksonville is due for an 0-6, 0-16, 0-17 season,
That would not look good on Trevor Lawrence or Urban Meyer.
Absolutely not.
And I think he'd lose his job off of that.
Urban Meyer, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He already is getting he already has been under pressure for how he's coached this team. And then he loses the first one. If he goes winless, he's gone. I don't think you can retain a coach after going winless ever. I don't care if it's his first season or not. But I feel like you think of the bad organizations within the past 20 years. Detroit comes up, they've had one. Cleveland comes up until recently. Who else has had bad seasons constantly? Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Do you maybe throw Washington?
Do you think
they've been the
with
postseason.
so many high picks that Jacksonville can pull a Browns and start using their picks for good?
No. Just because Jacksonville's front office also is not good. Like, they've been known to not have a good culture. They've been known to not take good draft picks. Um, they've been known to make dog shit trades and even worse signings, like free agent or extensions. But so I don't, the Browns at least they fired a few guys and got it together.
Took a
The
couple of
the
firings.
yeah, the Jags haven't done that quite yet. If they do that, maybe. But it's gonna be I think it's gonna be another rough season for Jacksonville fans, and they're gonna draft hopefully an offensive lineman with the number 1 overall pick.
And then some receivers, because do they need better ones?
They got Schnault and Chark, and then Robinson out of the backfield. I think Jacksonville's receivers are underrated. It's just you have nowhere to go in that offensive line.
This is true. They will draft a lineman very high, which I can agree with you on.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you have anything else to add?
Nah, I'm all done. That's
Yeah,
it for this episode.
check us out on YouTube, Minga Sports Podcast. Check us out on Spotify and wherever you else get your podcast platforms. The Minga Sports Podcast. Look us up. We'll be there. This is an audio podcast. So thank you all for watching, enjoying sports as we look through football. Word to your mother.